Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Okay, so we discussed a few things last time on the yoga ladder. We'll continue discussing on that until we understand this section of Bhagavad Gita. What are the verses we are discussing from till
10 to 16.
very good. So 10 to 16 is yoga ladder. What was the first base before we start stepping onto the yoga ladder of understanding?
Bhauma Sukha.
Bhauma Sukha. Or it is also called as, in English, we had put
Non-scriptural enjoyment.
very nice, non-scriptural enjoyment. Okay, and this is clear? Everyone understands this? Good. Above that, once we start stepping onto the yoga ladder, the first one was, the first step was
Karma Kanda.
Karma Kanda. Everyone understands what is Karma Kanda?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So after the first step, second step on the yoga ladder was?
Sakam Karma Yoga.
Okay. Sakama Karma Yoga. So now, yes.
Prabhuji, how this ladder has been developed? Like, I think last time you said is some Prabhujis from ISKCON developed it, or is it in the
No,
Bhagavad
that's Bhagavad Gita.
Gita? Okay.
No one has developed it. It is there in Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
This yoga ladder is there in Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. Krishna
So if you
says
read,
that-
if you read the verses from 10 to 16, you will see that it is progressing. Same thing is progressing in the yoga ladder. Because we cannot understand what the verses are, that's why we have put them in a systematic way to understand what it actually means step by step. So what was 3.9 to start with? Why are we going to the yoga ladder? ये क्वेश्चन कभी पूछा है किसी ने? योगा ladder पे क्यों चढ़ रहे हैं हम लोग?
Very valid question.
Yes. Why? Anyone?
Because it is difficult to get at the top.
So what is
Just
at the
like that
top?
without
So
why Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah,
Bhakti
why do
yoga.
you want to go to the top? What is the top?
Bhakti Yoga.
Okay, so why do you want to go there?
Because that will help in our spiritual advancement.
Okay, that is one thing.
And make us more Krishna conscious.
Why do you want to be spiritual advanced? Why do you want to be Krishna conscious?
Because the purpose of life is self-realization.
Okay, why? This is the purpose of life, self-realization. Do you think so? Or why do you think logically it is the reason why we should do that?
to identify yourself.
Identification was done in chapter 2, right?
But you haven't identified yet.
Yeah, that you have to go back again and understand the soul, right? We have gone past identification now. Why are we going on the yoga ladder? Why are we doing self-realization?
Prabhu, to attain pure love of Krishna.
Why do you want to attain the pure love of Krishna?
To attain eternal happiness and peace, Prabhu.
Okay, so you want to attain
That's
eternal
what-
happiness and peace.
Yes.
That's what the soul desires.
That's what the soul desires. Okay, so now to attain eternal peace and happiness, we are doing this. Okay, now that is your understanding, right? That is our understanding. So we will let you know. But has someone received peace and this by doing this? Have you met anyone?
Prabhu, basically, when we go up the ladder, we get out of the vicious circle of life and death, and that is how we become eternally
Okay. So
happy and peaceful.
where do you find this particular point which you said just now, that you will be coming out of the vicious cycle of birth and death
Uh,
if you achieve the top?
Prabhu, once we, I think, purity of the soul, bhakti yoga, Prabhu. Basically, when you learn to devote all your actions to Lord Krishna, like when all our actions in the service of Lord, then we are in bhakti yoga, Prabhu, and that is when we are above all this, like above the vicious circle of life and death. No
Okay, where,
karmas,
so
basically.
whatever you're saying, what is the basis of your statement?
Bhagavad Gita, Prabhu.
Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, where is it?
Oh,
Where
chapters,
does
Prabhu, you're asking? Chapters, Prabhu? Prabhu,
uh,
18.66, there's a shloka where,
have we reached chapter 18 as yet?
no, Prabhu. So, okay, Prabhu, you're talking about what we have read. Prabhu, devotional services we are. Prabhu, complete surrender is like, in the
See,
last.
let's not confuse. Let's not confuse this.
Yes, Prabhu.
Let's not confuse this. Simple question. Why are you doing this yoga ladder?
Prabhu, I'm doing to attain Krishna's pure love and get out of this vicious circle.
So
My understanding.
where is it stated? Are you doing it by yourself? Does this idea come to you by yourself?
No, Prabhu, it's in 9 stages of bhakti.
Hari bol. Have we studied the 9 stages of bhakti so far in Bhagavad Gita?
Prabhu, last time you mentioned 9 stages of bhakti yoga.
Okay.
Is it 3.9?
I mentioned. Now we are talking.
You,
Good.
Okay.
Now we are
I
talking.
just read the purport again of
Good.
3.9.
Very good. Very good. Now we are talking. So what does 3.9 say? The translation.
Vishakha Mataji, can you read it for us?
Yes. I was just going on off mute.
Okay.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world.
This is the
Therefore,
reason why we are
yeah,
reading yoga
because it
letters.
causes bondage.
So we want to come out of this bond. If at all you think, then only go on to this yoga ladder. We start with 3.10, but why are we reading 3.10 is because of 3.9. That was my question. Simple. Okay. There is nothing, no big thing. So because Krishna says in 3.9 very clearly, what he says, Yagyarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma konteya yukta sanga samachara. That is, work done as a sacrifice to Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Any work in this world causes bondage. Anything will cause you bondage. Anything. Now, what is bondage? Bondage क्या है? What is this bondage? Have you thought about this? What is the binding? Binding क्या है?
Reaction to the action.
Yes. And what is that reaction? क्या है वो? Binding क्या है?
Karma.
Yes. So whatever we do, whatever karma we do, whatever action we do, karma, what happens with that? Either something good happens or something bad happens, correct? That's how we understand, right? Yes. Something good happens, something bad happens. कुछ ना कुछ होता है उससे. But the problem with that is that anything that good that is happening now can be reflected as bad later. ऐसा भी होता है. अभी जिसके लिए जो चीज हमको चाहिए वही चीज हमको पसंद नहीं आती है आगे चल के. Yeah, correct? Yes or no? So anything that happens in this, good or bad, जो भी होता है हमारे साथ, that is the bondage. So don't think that good karma is good. Of course, it will give you good reaction. But don't think that good reaction is actually good for all the times. ऐसा नहीं
Because
होता.
that also causes bondage.
Exactly, because that also causes bondage. So the point is that anything you do in this world, good or bad, that everything comes back to you in the form of a reaction. And that is something which you have to pass again. So whatever is happening with us is a reaction from the past. So anything good happens to us, it's a good karma coming back. Anything bad happens to us, it's a bad karma coming back. But for doing all this, for this, all that, you need this body reaction के लिए. Okay, reaction उसी के ऊपर आते हैं, body के ऊपर ही चलता है. But if you think that you are not this body, if you can understand this concept that you are not this body, you are the soul, and the real happiness does not exist in the body, because the happiness or the peace or the nature of this happiness resides in the soul. वो जो खुशी है, जो happiness हम लोग सीख कर रहे हैं, that is only residing in the soul. Body में वो नहीं है. Okay, I'll give you an example. Say for example, in today's times, you like to eat certain things. Okay, say sweets or whatever, certain things. You like to love that. Okay, and there are some very expensive sweets which are available in the world, and you're not able to buy, and you are hankering for it. I want to have that. Tomorrow, you get the money and you get the sweets which you wanted to eat, but it may so happen that your body may not be good enough to have those sweets at that time. So the point I'm trying to say here is that the reaction is dependent on the body. So anything good that you want is dependent on the body. You should have that. Everything has to be there in order to experience the good reaction of your good karma. Does it make sense what I'm saying? So anything or everything that you are experiencing is based on the bodily concept. But the moment you start thinking that I'm not this body, I'm the soul, which is chapter 2, that's where the actual reasoning starts. So you think that whatever karma I'm doing, the reaction is on the body. So why is that? That is temporary. It's because the body is temporary. The experience is temporary. That's why this verse is very important, that the work done is a sacrifice to Vishnu. So anything that will free you from all this kind of action and reaction. That's why we step onto the yoga ladder. And that's why we came through the story of the monkeys last time. That why we do not step onto the yoga ladder, because we are surrounded by people who do not want to step onto the yoga ladder. Because they want only the bhauma sukha. That's why they are always on the flat. They are never stepping onto the yoga ladder. So that's why we should try and step onto the yoga ladder to understand this concept of how the work can be done as a sacrifice to Vishnu. It's easier said than actually done. How would you do something as a sacrifice to Vishnu? Is practically how would you do it? Not just conceptually or write down or mug it up or just say it. Practically how you do it, only then it is possible to step onto the yoga ladder. So the ultimate goal of the topmost yoga ladder, of the highest position in the yoga ladder, is that yoga where you do the work as a sacrifice to Vishnu, which is, what is that thing called? One word in Sanskrit?
Yagna.
Yagya, absolutely. Yajna karmano anyatra. Yagya, to be done without any other karma. Karmano anyatra, any other work, no. Just yagya. only is the way to come out of this cycle of birth and death. That's what is 3.9. So that has to be understood very clearly as to why are we doing it. Okay, so first step was karma kanda. Karma kanda in other terms known as, in English,
Scriptural enjoyment.
scriptural enjoyment. Very good. So enjoying or getting the pleasure, the idea is still the same, that I want to enjoy. My body has to enjoy. I want to enjoy in the terms karma kanda is body wants to enjoy. I want bodily enjoyment, but I will ask the permission or the resources from the Supreme, whoever I think, by doing certain rituals or certain prayers, certain things, whatever required in order to receive the benefits for my own self, for my bodily enjoyment. That is karma kanda. Any questions on karma kanda? Okay. Above that was the next one, which we already, I think, mentioned, was what was that? Sakama karma yoga. So that is the first one with the word yoga. So when the yoga comes, the word yoga comes in, what happens?
This connection with the
Supreme
God.
Lord.
Exactly. So then you have the aspect of connecting with the Supreme. Earlier, before karma yoga was karma kanda. Karma kanda, and what is the difference between karma kanda and karma yoga?
Connection with God is not present in karma kanda.
Exactly. So you are not hankering for the service or the connection and the service with the Supreme. You are only hankering for your bodily pleasure. That's karma kanda. Once the yoga comes in picture, that means you're starting to serve the Supreme in order to please him. That's where work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu. So now when yoga comes in, you are actually going in that area of sacrifice, yajna. That is the proper understanding yoga. So Sakama Karma Yoga, also known as, in English, we put it as, termed it as
Karma Yoga, Prabhu, in Karma Yoga, Prabhu.
Sakam Karma Yoga. Yes. How do we term it in English?
50-50.
Semi-detached work.
Very good.
I've taken a screenshot
Semi-detached.
of that
Yeah,
table.
good. So semi-detached work is Sakama Karma. So you are not fully detached. You are serving, but you have a little bit of personal benefit in that. You want some personal benefit. Yes, not 100% completely service to Krishna. So we have discussed a few examples on that as well on Sakama Karma Yoga. Above that was
Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga means, in English, you can say, what is that? It's a,
Fully detached, Prabhu.
yes, fully detached work. So when you say detached work, that means there is no personal pleasure in the benefit or any benefit which is expected for serving Krishna. Simple. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Now, Nishkama Karma Yoga has one flaw in it. What is that one flaw?
You are attached to the nature of the service or status.
Yes, you're attached to the type of the service you're doing. Why is that important?
Because ego comes in play.
Yes, one aspect, but on a very simple, understanding, you want to put it. How would you understand this flaw, basically?
Prabhu, still there's attachment with the body. Like
Do
we
you
are on
think
the
so?
platform of body where we are thinking, because ego comes with the body, Prabhu, that we feel, oh, we are this. How can we do this work?
Nishkama
That
Karma
with the name of the body or our position. So that is where ego comes in, that I'm so and so person. I'm at this position. Why should I do this service or that service?
Mm.
But when we are attached with soul, we are neither man nor woman. We are nor a position, and we can do any service which has been given to us to please Lord Krishna.
So self-identification. Okay, that could be one aspect. Yeah, yes, okay. Any other thing on a very basic level which you can? Very good point, actually, Mataji. Yeah.
Is it
Any other thing?
because the fruits of that service is not material, but more like getting this recognition that we're talking about? So it is also in
Recognition.
a way you're getting fruits, but it's not a material thing.
So
It
you
is more
want some
like
you don't want the material enjoyment, but you still want the word
Fruit.
actually, the word actually is called stuti.
stuti. Yeah, okay.
So you're saying it absolutely right. The acknowledgement or the fame or the recognition you get, that is called stuti.
Mhm.
There's a very nice saying in the scriptures about stuti, that stuti is a kanya. Stuti is a kanya. So every all these terms that we talk about, like fame, recognition, in stuti, or ego, ahankar, and all, they all have a form, like how we have a structure of the body. Similarly, they have a structure. That's how the scripture in the scripture it is mentioned. That's how the spiritual world, everything has a form. All these things have form. So stuti is a kanya, and she's always unmarried. That's how it's mentioned. The reason why she's unmarried is because people who want stuti, who like stuti doesn't like them. And the people whom stuti likes, they don't like her. So she always remains unmarried. So it's a very nice understanding if you can come out of it. So if you want stuti, she will never marry you. But if you don't want stuti, then she will keep on running after you. So a person who is on this path of self-realization or spiritual advancement, praise, or stuti, it actually doesn't excite that person. It actually is painful. So if praise or the stuti becomes painful to you, that means you are on a very good scale on the yoga ladder, naturally, not by just stating, like many people, someone say, oh, you are so nice and elevated. No, I am just dust at the lotus feet of yours. I am just a little particle under your feet. I'm nothing. There's one person who went to one of the Maharaj and he said this, and Maharaj, how can we remain humble all the time? How can we develop this humility, that we remain humble all the time? Consistently, we should remain humble. So the answer Maharaj gave him was, he said, first you have to become humble. Remaining humble is later. Okay. So first you become humble. So that means what you say, that if you say that I'm really low, I'm not that, you should feel that rather than saying it. So a person who is humble or who has humility aspect, praise or prashansa or stuti, it is painful for that person. Doesn't like it. But someone praising a pure devotee, someone praising Krishna, someone praising Radharani, someone praising like a pure devotee like Srila Prabhu, that excites him, that makes him very happy. Someone praises him, it doesn't like it. Internally, it doesn't like it. So that is the nature. of a devotee, and that is stuti. Okay. So Nishkama Karma Yoga, yes, one aspect, very good, Rishi raised this point, that someone on that platform, Nishkama Karma Yoga, may still be wanting stuti. Maybe right? Yes. What else can come to your mind with Nishkama Karma Yoga and that one factor which is missing, Nishkama Karma Yoga? Now I'll just give you a hint in what direction you can think. We are thinking in the direction of service at the moment. Think in the direction of relationship. Yes.
Okay, so that connection, that bhav is not there.
Very nice. What is that connection? What is that bhav?
Prema. Prema is
Yes.
very high level, but yeah.
Shraddha,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
yeah. Bhav. So that bhav, yeah. So that shraddha, that bhav,
Faith.
that emotion. So that emotion which we talk about. Now, try to understand this. It's a little very, very practical understanding. That's if you are in a relationship with someone. So there are two kinds of relationship. One is give and take, and one is the relationship of love. There cannot be anything else. The two types only. So either you love some, and you are the relationship you are maintaining it because you are loving that person, or thing, or other the maintaining the relation because you have some benefit from that person. It's only two aspects. दो ही विकल्प है, इसके अलावा कोई विकल्प नहीं है relationship में. Okay, so we'll leave that first one. Give and take तो सारे relationships. Second relationship में there is unconditional relationship होता है वो दूसरा वाला. उसमें conditions नहीं होती. But anything in this world which happens, there is a star mark on that. Conditions apply. हर किसी चीज में वो star mark है. Anything I'm doing already, ये reason है इसकी वजह से मैं कर रहा हूँ. But जो ये star हट गया ना उसके ऊपर से relationship में, वो it is without conditions, and that relationship does not have any any kind of give and take in that one. उसमें कुछ नहीं है. And that relationship is above निष्काम कर्मयोग. तो वो करता है कोई किसी के लिए निष्काम कर्मयोग, लेकिन उसमें स्टार नहीं है. That is above. Now that understanding of that, practical understanding of that is called, that analysis of that is called
Bhav, Prabhu.
Dhyan Yoga.
Jnana. That
Gyan
analysis
Jnana
is called
Yoga.
Jnana. Okay, so that is Jnana. So when you understand this concept, that yes, I am fully serving Krishna, but if there is something more to it, which needs to be analyzed, is the bhava. So when you try to understand that bhava, is called meditating on that, analyzing on that, and that is the knowledge you are after, jnana. So that is the jnana you are above. So above jnana, when you understand that jnana completely, in that understanding, there is actually no work required. So even if you sit down and do nothing, yeah, and you are in the process of meditating, that is meditation. जब हम लोग meditation की बात करते हैं ना, सारी this state is called meditation. You don't need to work at that point, but you should be at the level of this kind of meditation. But how can I develop that power for the service of Krishna? Above that is,
But Prabhuji, one question quickly.
yeah.
So in Gyan Yoga is when that sort of analysis of
Yes.
how much we are attached, and is that not throughout
No,
the
no.
entire?
How much we are attached? No, we have already detached.
Okay.
So Nishkama Karma Yoga is a detached work.
Okay.
But it had a flaw, which was the understanding of emotion in my service. Because the bhava when done for someone, he doesn't see that what kind of service I'm doing for someone. Say for a mother, if she's serving her child, she will even clean the dirtiest thing of her child. She will not put her status, even if she is, say a director of a company, but her child, if say for example is sitting in a mess or something, she wouldn't mind going to the lowest of the order and serving her child. That is called emotion. उसमें उसमें निष्काम तो कर्मयोग तो है ही, डिटैच्ड है वो पूरा, लेकिन उसमें इमोशन है, that is above. So that doesn't have the status thing. But निष्काम कर्मयोग में status आता है. Is it making sense?
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So ज्ञान योग is the above. So उसमें काम की जरूरत नहीं, उसमें काम तो कर ही रहे हो, नेचुरली कर रहे हो, निष्काम कर्मयोग में आ चुके हो, लेकिन उसके अभाव अब इमोशन में जा रहे हो. So उसमें, say for example, I had given this example of, I think, inaction in action. Did we discuss this? Action in inaction. ये डिस्कस किया था आप लोग? Action in inaction, inaction in action.
Is it the 4 types of karma?
No,
It's
this is different.
Mm.
Okay. So let's discuss this quickly, briefly on this, and then I'll give you an example also. Action in inaction, inaction in action. तो पहले समझेंगे कि inaction in action कैसे होता है. भौम सुखा, उसमें कोई एक्शन वो काम कर रहा है, लेकिन एक्चुअली वो स्पिरिचुअली कोई डेवलपमेंट है ही नहीं उसमें. वो भौम सुखा में there is no connection at all. So that can be termed as inaction in action, because there is no spiritual progress at all. वो बॉडी है, वो बॉडी खत्म हो जाएगी, वो वैसे ही वापस दूसरा बॉडी मिल जाएगा कोई और. Does it make sense? So actually there is no action happening in terms of the human life. Yes or no? Agreed or not agreed? Any
Yes,
questions on that? So this is inaction in action. काम कर रहा है, पूरा सारा दिन काम कर रहा है, सुबह से लेके शाम तक गधा मजूरी, पूरा एकदम जबरदस्त, हाथ पैर सब यूज कर रहा है बराबर से, लेकिन वो खाता है, वो जो आया उसको वो रिजल्ट फ्रूट्स, देयर इज नो अंडरस्टैंडिंग एट ऑल. देयर इज नो अंडरस्टैंडिंग. उसको लगता है सब दुकान से मिल जाएगा, सब इधर से हो जाएगा, मैं मेहनत करूंगा सब मुझे मिल जाएगा, दैट्स इट, फिनिश, एंड ऑफ स्टोरी, एंड आई विल स्पेंड माय लाइफ दिस एंड आई विल डाई. खत्म हो गया. सो देयर इज नो एक्शन. दिस इज इनएक्शन इन एक्शन. अभी एक्शन इन इनएक्शन, अब एक एग्जांपल देता हूं. देयर इज एग्जांपल ऑफ one of the 6 Goswamis. Okay, so how he served, he would sit down and he will meditate hours and hours on the service of the Lord. अब किसी को देख के लगेगा कि ये कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, बैठा है ऐसे ही, but in his mind he is actually preparing bhoga for the Lord. वो राइस लेने गया, खीर बना रहा है भगवान के लिए, श्रीमती राधा रानी और कृष्ण के लिए खीर बनानी है, उसको सर्व करना है. अब वो सर्व कर बना रहा है, चावल लेने गया, फिर ड्राई फ्रूट्स लेने गया, ये किया वो किया, दूध लिया, बनाया उसने, सब करते करते वो सब करके फिर भोग लगाया उसने. अब उसको ठीक नहीं लगा, फिर भोग लगाया, उसके बाद उसको चेक किया कि गरम कितना है, ये वो सब भोग, घंटों तक बैठा है वो, यही कर रहा है, बैठा हुआ है. और उसके बाद उसने भोग लगाने के बाद प्रसाद भी ग्रहण किया, वही वाला मन में कर लिया, वो तृप्त भी हो गया और बैठा है आराम से. और पूरे दिन में एक्चुअली सबके सामने one of the Goswamis, he used to have only buttermilk, इतना सा 2-3 ड्रॉप का बटरमिल्क लेके एक दिन, वो इसका डेली का रूटीन, वो इतना ही बटरमिल्क लेके बस को, और कुछ नहीं करता था वो. 5-6 drops of buttermilk for the whole day. That's how he used to survive. One day he got diarrhea. अभी वो डायरिया कैसे हो गया, रोज वो 4 drops of buttermilk लेके चल रहा है. because he was having prasad every day after offering bhoga to the Lord. So these kind of things which are there, the real pastimes which we have, that tell us that someone can perform action in inaction without doing anything. अभी अगर हम फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोई जो इतना स्पिरिचुअली एलिवेटेड नहीं है, इफ ही इज ट्राइंग दिस, सिर्फ काम नहीं करना उसको और बैठा है घर पे और मेडिटेट करूंगा मैं, आप वो ऐसा वाला मेडिटेशन कर सकता है? अगर कर सकता है तो छोड़ दो काम, नो प्रॉब्लम. बट इफ यू कांट डू दिस, तो भूख लगेगी तुम्हें थोड़ी देर के बाद. हाँ, फिर उसके लिए काम करना पड़ेगा. So it is not possible without that kind of spiritual elevation. So that is called inaction in action, action in inaction. कोई काम नहीं. तो that is why this kind of state, when you are in love, that state is above nishkama karmi. So this is what I was talking about is a very high state. It's actually bhakti. But if you are above nishkama karma yoga, the analysis of this is the state where you are in the Jnana Yoga. And above that, if you are absorbed in that analysis all day, then it is called Dhyana. So you are completely absorbed in that. And above that actual absorption, when you start performing the service to the Lord purely out of love, in the spirit of devotion, that's called bhakti. I'll share my screen with you again, just to give you this. So I'm going to chat here somewhere. Yeah, okay, good. Work done. Saw your output now. You know, once you start seeing my screen, can you see the ladder?
Yes, yes.
So the Bhava Sukha, spiritual enjoyment, and you have. Now, if you see this here, this is the whole part up till Dhyana Yoga is Jnana Kanda. Okay, here, because you are in knowledge here. Here you are not in knowledge. Scriptural enjoyment is because you are in Karma Kanda. But once you start your yoga ladder, actual yoga ladder, then you are in the Jnana Kanda. And then when you are in the spirit of devotion, it is called Upasana Kanda. That is ultimately working for a higher purpose. Now, when we are going to the next section of Bhagavad Gita, after this, it will be much higher than this. So if you haven't understood anything of this sort, practical understanding, theoretical nahi, then jumbling of words, bada words nahi, actual practical understanding agar samjhe hai iski, then we will move on to the next section. Otherwise, I'm happy to discuss on this particular section on comments or questions. Have you understood this? Crystal clear. No problem at all. Yes?
Yes, I have a question though.
Yeah.
We have seen examples of each stage,
Yes.
like examples of practical ways to be in a specific stage.
Yeah.
Can we also discuss some practical examples of what we can do or what is done when somebody is in Bhakti Yoga?
Bhakti Yoga. So I can only share the examples which I have seen, how
Yes, that will help.
people, I wouldn't call them people, I will call them devotees. So devotee, when I term someone as a devotee, or you think someone is devotee, experience that person, that those kind of qualities in that person, which are actually helping your own self to go closer to Krishna by looking at that person. It will automatically, you'll feel doing something for that person as a devotee, as well as you like to do serve Krishna. If that is the thing, then you can term that person as devotee. Just automatically attracts you. So I will share this example with you, where the spirit of devotion has been, where a person is in love for the Lord, and for that love, he doesn't want to have anything of his own. He doesn't want, basically, although he's been given everything, but he doesn't like it. Naturally, he doesn't like it. Okay, I'll give you that example. So I'll share the name later with you guys. This particular brahmachari is living at our residence, and I was organizing, his travel and everything. Just he had his tickets and everything. So I was organizing his travel to the airport, and he stayed with us for some time. All I could see him is somehow or the other he'll try to serve the Lord. Somehow or the other he will try to serve the Lord. He didn't carry any money with him, nothing of that sort. So he was traveling, and in the middle of the transition, when he goes from Australia to India, in the middle he stays at the Far East somewhere, and then he stays for a few hours. The flight was delayed in a way that it was about 6 or 7 hours of halt in the transit. So what comes to my mind straight away, like for our travel, what we do is we book some place like a lounge or stay at the airport so that we get to relax. Just started booking that straight away. And I asked the brahmachari that, I will. He said, yeah, okay. At the first point, okay, yeah, you go ahead, book it. So I started booking. Is almost done. I was just about to confirm a few things, name, this and that, and I was hit the confirm button. That moment, I was about to hit the button. My finger is on the mouse about that. Suddenly, he rushed and he held my finger up. He picked it up. He said, no, not harshly, slowly. He said, no, don't do it. I said, why? He said, no. He said, why? You have 7 hours at the airport. What would you do? He said, I'll chant. I said, but yes, you chant, but go inside and chant. But I'm booking here. He said, no, I don't want. I said, but why? He said, don't worry about it, but don't book it. I couldn't understand why would, if I want to chant, I'll find a peaceful, nice place, inside air conditioned, and I'll chant that. But this person, this devotee, he didn't want it any kind of luxury in order to serve the Lord. It makes sense to me completely. Why not? I mean, if it is available, why not? I should. Anybody should take it. See, if you get it, why don't you take it? But that is, a form of love which I understood over a period of time when I was analyzing this. I was discussing with other devotees. They said this is a nature which comes in after you are elevated, when you're in bhakti, wherein the aspect is to serve, and that is the happiness actually. So the luxury is in serving the Lord rather than actually being in a luxurious state and then serving. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Bhakti is, so that is one form of that in many ways. But you are completely out of your pleasures. You just don't want anything. And the same devotee, when he was traveling from India to Australia, he didn't eat anything. He traveled for 2 days. He didn't eat anything anywhere. He was drinking water. I said, yeah, I understand Ekadashi, but and when he came here, there was a lot of many devotees made a lot of nice prasadam for him, and he was eating there. He was eating very nicely because of the prasad. He said it was worth waiting for all this. You see, 2 days. He didn't eat for 2 days. It's not that he was trying to prove something, or he didn't utter a word on that one. He didn't say that I didn't eat for 2 days, this, that, nothing, no word spoken. Just came and And very blunt also. I said, Prabhu, you have the whole thing. He said, नहीं नहीं थोड़ा थोड़ा करके लेने का, लेकिन बहुत सारा लेने का, थोड़ा थोड़ा करके लेने का. Very straightforward and blunt also. But the nature inside is purely to serve Krishna without any conditions. Just 2 pair of clothes, nothing required. No, I don't want the hotel room for 8 hours. No, I don't want it. I mean, I would take it. Why not? Anybody. I mean, if you have the money, if you have everything, all the resources, why not? But I don't want anything to serve you is the aspect of bhakti. This is what I understood. My take on that was, that's the example I wanted to share with you. So this is by nature. It doesn't have any conditions. That's bhakti. Very, very high form of, personally, it's very difficult for me to serve anyone for that matter that way, except to
So,
Shri.
so in this case, if we accept to be in a luxurious room to
No,
chant, is
I'm not,
that
no, I'm not
I'm
saying,
saying if
yeah,
I do it,
yeah, yeah,
if I
yeah,
accept the luxurious room to
yeah,
chant, then is
yeah.
that Nishkam Karma Yoga?
See, that again is up to your way of understanding this, because
Hmm.
this is my observation. I'm not judging that devotee, but my observation was that on that. Now, I may be wrong, I may be right, I don't know. But what do you think on serving or chanting or doing any kind of service to the Lord? What do you think? That
Hmm.
is your bar, because you are your own barometer.
True, true.
And the other part of this is it keeps fluctuating. You know, it's not consistent all the time, because we are an
That is
association of so many
true.
people, and then we come back,
True.
then we go again, then we come back. So
Hmm.
that is consistency is
Our
another
our
issue.
level of yes, our level of bhakti is sometimes influenced by the people around us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we know our own selves. We can only see. So it's not wrong. I mean, if you have money, why not stay in a luxurious hotel than in a bad hotel? Why not? Simple. Of course you should. And if you feel comfortable there and you chant the name of the Lord, of course it is service. Of course it's a form of bhakti. Why not? But naturally, if someone, you know, is not, so it is like, that, say, for example, I just want to give. I just don't want to take anything from you. There is a culture like that in India where you have, um, when you have your girl child, when you have a daughter, so you don't take anything from the daughter. You just give to the daughter. That's the kind of mentality people have. Many of our, sentiments, like a ritual, you can say that you don't actually take anything. You don't even drink water from your daughter's house. You should always give to the daughter. So that kind of mentality, sometimes it is enforced. Do that. Sometimes people do it out of nature. I've seen many old people doing it out of nature. They just do it, So that nature to serve the Lord without any kind of return, unconditional, and maintaining it, that is a very tough part. You know. Practicing it, I've seen only a few can actually practice it. And that's association we can seek, can always desire for someone who's so close. And that's where we can actually get the real knowledge, understanding, by experience here. Yeah, very nice question, Michelle. Yeah. Does it make sense what I said?
Yes,
And
yes, it's
Bhakti?
bringing more clarity.
So working for a higher purpose, uh, and if the purpose is 3.9, worked as a sacrifice to Vishnu. So another example I can give you on that is keeping vrata or ekadashi, for example. How do we take that vrata? Personally, me, I take it as a health thing, that it detoxifies me. If I have to think about it, it makes me good thinking that if I'm eating no grains, no carbs, no gluten, nothing on that day, and only fruits and veggies, and that too in portions, it really cleanses my whole body system very nicely. I feel very nice. And then after that, next day when I eat, it is more delicious to me. See how completely bodily understanding this is, that health benefits this and that. And there is a thought by one of my very dear friend and devotee. He enjoys sacrifice as a sacrifice. So he says that I wait to sacrifice. This is his thought. He didn't say it, but it should be an enjoyment for me to plan Ekadashi. I have to bring in fruits one day before I do all that thing, so that I can eat all that day. But for a devotee, it is like suddenly they will come to know, oh, it's Ekadashi, and it's great. I mean, and he doesn't eat anything. He only drinks water for the whole day. I'm not saying you follow that, but it's out of nature. He does it. Uh, enjoys it. Sacrifice taken as a burden versus sacrifice taken as a service and enjoying that service. That is bhakti. Yeah. Work done as a sacrifice, but sacrifice to be enjoyed is bhakti. So that is one example which I have seen, how someone can sacrifice with enjoyment. Okay, so these are the two examples which come to my mind straight away. Two different devotees. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question or comment before we finish today? Because we will take the next section next time onwards, because that's a very deep subject. Krishna will be touching very high, intense words like Atmarati and Atmatrupta. So these are the words which will come in 3.10. These are self-realization aspects which we go after the yoga ladder. So if this is understood conceptually, and how how practical this can be implemented in real life, then we are good to go in the next section. Yeah. Any comments? Any other questions on any of these Jnana Kanda or Upasana Kanda?
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, just a question.
Yeah.
I knew about Karam Kand, Jnana Kand, Upasana Kand, and Prabhu, and where the bhaktis, Prabhu, like Dhyana Yoga will be coming, right? So, Prabhu, I'm just little
Now, can you see my
lost.
screen? Is it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
It says Bhakti Yoga. It is Upasana Kand.
Yeah.
Dhyana. Oh, sorry, Prabhu. Yeah, I missed the half. Oh.
Yeah.
So, Prabhu, Dhyan and Gyan, they come under Jnana Kand, and Upasana Kand is Bhakti Yoga, right, Prabhu?
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
I've never heard Upasana Kand. That's why I was like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And Prabhu, this is the topmost of the ladder because.
Yes. Yeah. So this is 3.9. Work done as a sacrifice to Vishnu will not give you bondage. But this has to be swabhaviki. Again, very important. Naturally developed, not balotpadita. Just because you've heard it, you start doing it, forcing yourself doing all these things now. That's not the way. It has to be developed. Just like the taste is developed.
And
Anything.
humility, Prabhu, as you said, it should be genuine humility.
Yeah, correct.
I really get that point, Prabhu. And when Prabhu, we do small things like, for example, I perform a puja. I really expect that somebody tells me, is it done well? Assurance, So, Prabhu, I don't know about praise, but sometimes we need assurance. So, Prabhu,
Validation.
is it two different things, Prabhu?
You don't need validation in terms of bhakti. Bhakti is personal.
Okay, that's a good thing, Prabhu. So,
Yeah. You are your own barometer. If you are convinced that my service is completely out of devotion and there is nothing, no other condition involved, that's it.
makes sense, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Nobody else can judge you
Judge you.
or they
True.
cannot validate you in terms of, because this is your relationship with Krishna. There is no one in the middle except your own guru. That's why when you surrender to your spiritual master, this is very clear in your mind that I am actually seeking a spiritual master who can remove, those little things which are left between me and Krishna. Only then you surrender to that person. And when that guru tells you something, you just do it without asking questions. Like the donkey example I gave you last time. So only then you are ready for that surrender. That's the understanding. So bhakti should be done with intelligence initially, not with emotions initially. Emotion has to follow after intelligence.
Makes sense, Prabhu.
This is called thinking before doing. But if you emotionally start your bhakti and then put your intelligence, it's called doing and then thinking, which is not a good way of doing anything. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, Prabhu. It's perfectly said, Prabhu.
So be very, very cautious. Once you understand the concept, so that's why we have books. That's why we have Shastra. That's why we have Bhagavad Gita. I remember in 2011, I've never got instructions from any of the gurus or sannyasis, except one instruction, which I got in 2011 or 12. And I started my little journey, whatever it is. And that instruction, I wouldn't mind sharing the name of the sannyasi. His name was His Holiness Prahalananda Maharaj. He is a New Zealander, but he is white body completely, completely Western. And he was sitting on a Vyasasana, which was below the bench which I was sitting on. So I was on a higher elevation than him, sitting my leg one on top of the other, as if I'm something great. But then the first time, I didn't know who's a Vaishnava, who's a devotee, no idea. And I spoke to him. He started about reading. He discussed about reading books. So I said, okay, Maharaj, you spoke an hour about this. What is the book I should read if I'm just a layman, just come in out inside the door, right in front of you? What should I read? He said, Bhagavad Gita. That's it. And then I asked him, what after that? He said, we'll speak about that after. I said, good. That's the only instruction. And I met him in 2017, 2018, before I was leaving Perth. I think 2019 I met him. 2020 I left Perth. I met him. I offered him lotus seeds. Mansi made very nice in ghee. She made it was ekadashi with black salt and everything, very nicely cooked. And we offered him. He was eating, and he looked at me. I said, looked at him. He said, "Who's your spiritual master?" I said, "As far as so far, I'm just aspiring, not initiated." I said, "Okay." So doing something. I said, "I'm just reading Bhagavad Gita as you told me in 2012." So oh, he said, "At least someone is doing something." But I said, "That's all." The only praise I got, I felt really good to be praised by a devotee. So yeah, Stuti, not very sweet, very ego, very sweet for the ears. But from a Vaishnava, I said, no, I have not finished yet. Still reading. So that instruction is still not completed. I'm sorry. I've still not completed. So that's fine. That's fine. So I'm still reading along with you. We are trying to understand. So once we understand this, I think then we might be little in that position in order to understand what is a spiritual master and why do we need a spiritual master. I also was aspiring for some spiritual masters, and one very good Shiksha Guru of mine, I call him Shiksha Guru, but he doesn't call himself my Shiksha Guru. I call him. It's only one way love. So he said, why do you want a spiritual master? So I didn't have the answer. Dusra question, no instructions here, but then this one I connected with my instruction which I got from one of the sannyasis, that until I understand Bhagavad Gita, how on earth will I be able to even understand what is a spiritual master? So there is no intelligence if I just do things based on what I feel like doing it. That's not what Krishna says. He says buddhi. You have to use your buddhi. So he has given us buddhi. First, we to utilize that. That's why understand Bhagavad Gita and then see whether we are eligible for Guru. Yes, Kalpesh.
So, Prabhuji, like, how can we use a buddhi when that is also controlled by Krishna?
Very nice. Buddhi is not controlled by Krishna. Buddhi is given to us by Krishna. Buddhi is not controlled. You can utilize as much as you want. He doesn't control that. So there is no control on buddhi. जितना चाहो आप उसका इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो. कितना इस्तेमाल करते हैं वो हमारे ऊपर है. That is called analysis. बाल की खाल कितनी खींचते हो आप? That's up to you. That is Sankhya. Free will is given to you. You can make any decision you like. No problem. Nobody's going to stop you. So we are not robots. What is only thing that is controlled is the kshetra we can work in. Intelligence use करके, free will use करके आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो. लेकिन क्षेत्र आपका कंट्रोल होता है. वो आपके कर्मों के बेस पे भी कृष्ण कंट्रोल नहीं करता. That will be explained in further chapters. What is control is your kshetra. Say for example, if you get angry, you can do certain things. But say for example, the president of America gets angry. वो एक बटन दबाएगा, न्यूक्लियर बम फूट जाएगा. So उसका क्षेत्र बड़ा है, हमारा क्षेत्र कम है. So इंटेलिजेंस, बुद्धि, जितना चाहो यूज करो, लेकिन प्रैक्टिकली उसका डिसीजन जो है आप क्या कर सकते हो उससे, वो फ्री विल है आपकी. एंड दैट इज अ क्षेत्र you have based on your karma. उतना लिमिटेशन है तुम्हारा. Does make sense? अभी we'll take, if you go back in the history, you see Hitler had the क्षेत्र, वो यूज किया उसने बुरी तरह से. Nothing was controlled, right? He killed millions of people. बिंदास मार दिया सबको. वो क्षेत्र था उसके पास. So it's not controlled. You can see for yourself. लोग शादियां करते हैं, इतने पैसे उड़ा देते हैं कि हमको उसका 1000th भी मिल जाए तो हमारी लाइफ बन जाए. ये क्षेत्र है ना, हमारा क्षेत्र कितना है, किसी कितना बड़ा क्षेत्र है. They do that. So it's not controlled, but your क्षेत्र is controlled based on your karma. अब वो क्या चाहिए तुम्हें, उसके हिसाब से तुम अपनी साधना करो. तुमको अपना क्षेत्र बढ़ाना है, ज्यादा डिसीजन लेने हैं, वो सब करना है आपको, तो उसके लिए अलग कर्मकांड है. But what Bhagavad Gita is about all the options. वो सब पूरा दे देगा, बुफे है पूरा, क्या उठाना है तुमको उठाओ उसमें से. Nothing is controlled. So what I was talking about, what is controlled is your freedom. Your free will, intelligence खुल के दिया है तुमको, लेकिन freedom पूरा नहीं है. Freedom उतना ही है जितना तुम्हारा क्षेत्र है. So that is controlled. Does make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
So we'll end our discussion here today. Yes.
Just one thing I want to talk to everyone. I'll stop the recording now.